The best way for you guys working with the calculators is just to practice a bunch of things on your own so that you're comfortable with it. There really is only a couple locations on the calculator you're going to use. It's not like everything's all over the place, but I think where some of you feel confused is, like you have to know what steps to do, things like that. And so then that's why practicing it just kind of gets you more comfortable. I was asked this morning before you guys came in what the calculator questions on the test would look like. Whether it would just be me asking you to find the derivative or something like that on the calculator. I guess my easiest answer is you're going to get the exact same questions you would on a non-calculator test. The only difference is the equations are more difficult and and the numbers are worse, and you're allowed to use your calculator to find answers. And so it should theoretically go quicker even though everything's worse. So if you wanted to practice things, you could just take all the normal questions you've been working on and then try using your calculator to find those answers. I wonder if my bulb's burning out. That doesn't look very good, because my screen's not flashing. Oh well. Should I give you an epilepsy warning like video games? Let's say you're given a position function and you're asked to find the velocity at time 4. We have a couple options on how to do that. Now, for one, if you're just answering a single question, you don't have to go through all the work to graph it and put it in y equals and all that, because if you're only answering one question, it's not necessarily worth it to do, I don't want to call it the long way, but to go through all that work. So the derivative button that we've been talking about, that nderive, you can just do it directly on the home screen. You don't have to do it in y equals. Most people use it on the home screen. Where we did it in y equals is kind of a workaround and, we'll call it a mini hack or something. This is kind of what the button was intended for, was to find the derivative of an equation at a certain spot. So let's say your position function was 3x squared minus 15x, 16x plus 8. And I think I said something, but I already forgot which value I said. What did I say, 3 or 4 or something? Sure. Let's pretend that we're finding the velocity at 4 seconds. So if you're given the position function, in your head you should know that velocity is the derivative, and you're going to be plugging 4 into the derivative. So you've had a bunch of questions like that on the non-calculator part, but on the calculator portion, this should be all that's required. Okay? So I would just hit enter, and I immediately have my answer. And like I said, this is efficient if you're only being asked a single question and you need to know nothing more about, from there. In terms of work on the test, this is basically what you're going to have to put. On the test, I'll need to know what you tried to do to get the answer. So that's going to be for your benefit, right? Because if the test is a calculator portion multiple choice, a lot of you are just, if I didn't say this ahead of time, a lot of you would probably naturally just do it all on the calculator, circle the correct answer, and move on. Well, the downside to that is that's just all right or all wrong. There's no partial credit. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. You get one wrong and it feels like a bigger hit. So this is what I would like you guys to write for your work, is basically what you did on the calculator. If you decided to do a different way, so if you decided to do y equals and graph a function, which I can do that. I already forgot the equation I typed. 2x squared, I'll make one up again. I feel like it was something close to that. If you decide to do it by the graph method, Good enough. You don't technically have to see the graph to find answers from it, by the way. So let's say we decided to do the graph and I want to find the derivative from the graph. Well, I can go to the calculation menu, and then number 6 is derivative. And at x equals 4, I would have an answer of negative 24. So that's my derivative value, the velocity. So if you decide to do this route, then on the test you would say y1 equals, and then you would type the equation you put in, and then underneath that you would say calculation menu dy dx. Okay? Yes?
If it's too hard, can you do it all by hand? Like, for finding the velocity?
If what's too hard?
Putting it in the calculator?
Yes, you can do it by hand. So there definitely is never a rule against doing that. The reason you wouldn't want to is because you wouldn't have enough time to finish the test. So the questions are kind of set up so that the calculator is the by far quicker option. And so the time allotted for the test on Friday is with that in mind. So if you do them by hand, you'll probably not be able to finish. Are you talking on the home screen?
Yeah.
So the graphing part would be exactly the same. On the home screen, let me see if I can make it show. So the newer calculators do the exact same thing, they just have you type it in different. So let's see if it changes it slightly. That's what I thought. Okay, so you're gonna put an equation in, comma x, comma the number you want it at. Thank you. I forgot all about that. So that's the only difference on the home screen. Everything involving graphing, all that is same. Does anybody else have a different calculator? I don't think I've seen any Inspires. Does anybody have any Casios or Inspires? All right, because obviously the steps are a little bit different, but as long as you know your own calculator, that's all that matters. What else should we show? I believe yesterday the part that we ended the hour with was me showing you how to graph a function and then graph the derivatives. And then if you want to find values from the graphs, you use the trace button and move up and down to the graph that you want and hit at that x value. Is that something you want me to show again? Okay, otherwise it is recorded. That's why I made the recording, yep. Anything else in the calculator you may want help with? I don't know. Like, I was hoping and banking on you practicing some yesterday with the calculator so that you would kind of find out if there was something you didn't know how to do. I don't necessarily want you guys coming in tomorrow morning freaking out, saying that you don't know how to do this, that on the calculator. You know what? I can think of one off the top of my head that nobody has asked me about, but maybe you already know how to do it. I feel like there was one implicit equation, I think it was for linear approximation, that you were supposed to solve a cubic equation that wasn't really intended to solve by hand. I'm going to guess because I don't remember it, but I feel like it was y minus y cubed equals 1. I don't know if that's correct. If not, it's close. So the way that you would solve that is you have a couple options, but most people just graph both things that you're trying to equal. So y minus y cubed equals to 1. I forgot to change my mode back to there we go. So you've got y minus y cubed equal to 1. And if you graph this, well, that's a great graph. You're specifically going to want to find where they cross. So I'm going to have to change my window back to negative 10 to 10. If you hit zoom standard 6, that goes negative 10 to 10. So I can see that they cross right there. And if I want to find where they intersect, I'm going to do second calc intersect. And then this is going to tell me the correct value. So it asks me for my first curve, which it's on the blue one, so I hit enter. Second curve, it's on the red one, so I hit enter. Guess. I move the cursor close to where they cross. And so my correct y value for that question should be negative 1.325. Yes?
Can you repeat that again?
Just all of it?
Yeah.
Okay. First thing you should do is put the two things you're trying to make equal into the two equations. Now, if you wrote, I saw some people bring the question up, and some people brought the 1 to the side with the variables. So some people had y minus y cubed minus 1 equal to 0. And if you did that, you don't have to use the intersection button, you would use the 0 button. You should get the exact same answer, it just depends how you set up your problem. You're trying to find out when the things are equal. So I left it this way, not that you have to. I can show you the other way. Whoops. Why don't I show you the one where it would be minus 1, and then I'm going to erase this one. And now my graph looks slightly different. I want to find where it crosses the x-axis. So instead of using the intersection button, I would use the 0 button. Left bound. It's going to have kind of the same directions in multiple, whatever you're choosing to find. But then that's the same number I found last time. Were you able to get it? Okay. Where are you at, or where do you?
I did x equals 1, and I got y equals negative 1.
Why did you do x equals 1? You're trying to find the x values where they're equal. We can't type y values, so we used x instead of y. So if the equation you typed in was x minus x cubed, and was your second one 1, or was it like is it equal to 0? I think you did the second one equal to 1.
Yeah.
Okay, you're trying to find where those two intersect, where they cross. So the button you choose should be the one that says intersect. The calculation menu, number 5 is intersect. That's what you'd want to pick when you're trying to find where two equations cross. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to probably stop here. If I were you, what I would do is go through either review, like maybe the one you've already completed or the one you haven't done. Go through either review and try to see if there were questions that you wouldn't know how to do on the calculator. Obviously, you can also ask me today about how to do any one of those 6 sections. If there's something from any of those 6 that you don't know how to do, you can ask me about that today too. I'm hoping you're taking this extra day that we gave you to just basically get ready. I don't know, I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. But I'll stop the recording if nothing.